His internet search history is on the banned books list. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover filed a restraining order. Costco has renamed their economy lotion Fritzy Size. Bath towels have a one-time use. His do not disturb sign is disturbing.
I'm not always pervy, but when I'm at my perviest, it's on the box score, which starts now, my friends. Hey, ladies.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They, of course, are the Danettes out in Milford, Connecticut. Fritzy once again taking perviness to a whole new height. Todd, how do you balance looking at sexychicks.com and trying to book guests during work?
It's not easy. You're trying to pay attention to the show. You're trying to get ahead with lining up some newsmakers on the show, but then you have your personal needs to help relax you and get you through the through the anxiety moments of the day, or guest cancels, or last minute you're trying to scramble to get somebody on. So it's a tough balance, but someone's got to do it. These guys have more safe, human resources safe ways of getting through the day. I have my ways, and the blue screen that pops up, as you know, periodically.
Well, it looks like you may have been spending a little bit too much time looking at questionable material because you dropped the ball this morning. What happened with Mike Florio, Fritzy?
I guess there was a miscommunication between myself and Dan over whether we wanted to officially invite Mike on the show. And what I should have done to clarify it was when Dan said, I was thinking that too, after McLovin said, what about Florio today? I should have gotten something more definitive at that moment. So that was my bad. I should have just said, okay, I'm going to call him if that's cool with everybody. Instead, I kind of, let that fester, for lack of a better word, and it just kind of stayed out there if we wanted him or not. And I didn't make that call while I thought we were thinking about it further if we wanted to go in that direction.
Well clarified.
Todd, well, we wanted to give you a forum here on the Box Score to let out your frustrations, verbally that is. So here it is, Fritzy's feelings.
It's difficult, and we've been working together over 12 years now, and it's frustrating. I need to, I get pinned for being passive-aggressive, but I think everyone, through our emails and our communication, it could be a little better. We all have a little bit of that passive-aggressive thing, and there's some vagueness sometimes if we want a particular guest on or if we want to discuss a particular topic. And I guess I could have jumped in at that moment on Florio to say, so I'm going to reach out to him, is that okay? Or I'm going to, officially invite him. I didn't do that, so somehow it got turned on me. But there's a big difference between saying let's go after someone or put somebody on the show, and I was thinking about maybe doing that. So it was vague. Again, I could have taken it upon myself to make it more clear, but I do get a lot of vague responses, which frustrates the process.
Now, here's the thing, Broccoli. Sometimes I think that, in all honesty, Fritzy sometimes makes his own job harder by being passive. If Dan says, hey, what do you guys think about Mike Florio? You could say, you want him? And the answer will be either yes, no. Sometimes Dan's not good with yes as a no, so I'm not going to defend Dan there.
That is true. Dan can be extremely vague.
Right, but if you, I would say, asking him or sitting there and not asking him are your two options.
There's times where you'll email Dan like a yes or no, like, hey, we could do this or we can do that, and he'll write back, okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, that really doesn't help me decide that right now. I'm not exactly sure what to do. I think, though, that there are also things that you could sort of learn to read from Dan, especially when it comes to booking a guest and where he's offering up somebody, which you would think Todd would be like, hell yeah, dude, yes. Boom, check off that segment, heck yeah.
Yes, if Dan pitches a guest idea moments before the show or the day after, you can assume he's approved it.
I gotta be honest, when Dan said Mike Florio on air, I was a little surprised. I was like, oh, I must have missed a conversation. Because Dan had a conversation. He did say, what do you kind
find out what do you guys think about Florio, and we debated it. But I'm actually surprised. Usually you follow up and say, so do you want Florio?
Yeah, I should have said
because
that.
we had that big gap in the third hour.
All too often, you know, you, as Seton alluded to too, you'll get a response that doesn't really necessarily answer the question. And I don't know if Dan realized it or that's just his version of my passive aggressiveness. Like, you know, we can discuss that, or we might look at that. There's sometimes a lot of words that aren't very decisive, and all of us as a group, and me in particular, can try to get more decisiveness out of Dan. Sometimes I think all of us, or maybe even Dan, you know, you play it safe with a certain guest that we're not sure if we want to invite. This way, if you're kind of on the fence and you're not definitive and you're vague, if it works out, hey, great, I knew it would work out, and then you protect yourself. If for some reason it's a disaster or it's not what we hoped, then you can kind of play the other side.
I don't think it through that much. I don't think I'm going to protect myself if a guest isn't that good. I think, do you think this guy is good for the show? Yes, no, let's book him. I never think like, wow, if I suggest this guest and he doesn't work out, Dan's going to somehow hold it against me. I think that's a dangerous way to live your life, of that possible consequences of a negative instead of what can we get out of this guy.
Also, I love that Dan said on air, all right, we have Florio. So he's just assuming Florio said yes, because he never got any communication from Todd. So how did Dan know that Florio would say yes, which is an interesting leap by Dan?
It is an interesting leap because nobody, including myself, told Dan that Florio was good to go in any way, because at that point, Florio had not responded to an email. And so Mike's a pretty busy guy, but he 99% of the times he'll say yes if he can.
Fritzy, you can't go on a rant and without letting the boss weigh in. So let's do that with Boss's thoughts.
I don't know. Sometimes you have that unspoken communication where, you know, your wife may finish her sentence, or you may know what she's thinking if she wants, you know, you to get something for her when you get up from the table. And I just thought Fritzy and I had that kind of connection, symbiotic relationship, that he knew what I was thinking before I thought it or said it, but apparently not. So maybe I have to reassess our relationship. Maybe it's not as strong as I thought. Maybe I need a new partner.
I think that's way too dramatic. I think we're very close, and we do have some unspoken communication. My concern is, when it comes to specifically this case, is because it's happened to me before over the years, thankfully not recently, is to invite somebody and then find out we weren't necessarily interested in having that individual on, and then you got to uninvite them, which is a lot worse. So sometimes I find myself trying to use the right phraseology when we're kind of thinking about having somebody on, and then I'll use certain wording just to kind of see if someone's available, and then, you know, go from there. But that's the where the sensitivity kicks in, putting an invitation out there and then finding out there was a miscommunication and it's not something a direction we wanted to go in. Then you got to kind of backtrack and uninvite someone, which you never want to do.
I do find it funny that we're making this much drama over an 11:20 booking for Mike Florio.
Well, it was a rough start for Fritzy, no doubt. But just when you thought he was going to regain focus, he went into the box, and this happened.
We were talking about trading in our spouses, girlfriends, or whatever. What would you do? And just to reiterate, I would not trade anything that led up to or was happening or did happen during my relationship with my wife. I love her, and everything's great. I love our 2 children. But, you know, I have that wild side where if every once in a while, you know, a young lady friend popped into the mix and wanted to join us, I'm going to get in all kinds of trouble here. But since I already put it out there, there's nothing wrong with having your little fantasies and wanting once in a while for one of those fantasies to come to reality, which would include a third party. I'm going to leave it at that. Booyah.
Man, there's just really nothing good that comes out of that, huh? I don't even really know where to go with it. There's just things that, like, there's topics that come up. Sometimes I don't really know how we got there, but anything involving trading in your wife, ... is really a non-starter. That there's what good is coming out of that? Why in the world would we even go there? And then to sort of embrace it too. Like, it's not like you're sitting at the bar. You're sitting on national television.
You really hit a nerve this time with the. I mean, you had said it in the first segment. You said, I want to add somebody, and I actually called you out on that because Dan went right over it. And then you said it clearly again in the box.
Yeah, and again, it's not a trade. It's adding to the roster.
So wait, even I don't know. Is this an act or is this real? Would you, like,
if given the opportunity, if there was some hot woman that, and my wife agreed that she can join us for an experience, the three of us, that's something I would be very in favor of. And if that's weird or strange or creepy, then so be it. But I would be shocked if a lot of other people wouldn't.
Does it bother you at all that you got a negative reaction about it from listeners?
Not really, because I don't think that kind of covers what the whole gamut of national reaction.
Is it a sample?
I'm going to say 7 emails is not a strong enough sample for me to be concerned.
I don't think that your feelings about this are weird, strange, creepy, or anything negative at all. I think they're like actually totally normal, depending on who you are. But they're private. And they're actually something that are between you and your wife. So now say this whole threesome thing did come in. Are you going to come in and be like, dude, guess what we did this weekend? Probably not. You're going to keep that between you and your wife,
actually,
right?
I share that with
Todd would 100% share that with us.
I would be so...
He has shared us
But
about...
there's just supposed to be things that are kept private in your relationship with your wife. I mean,
I guess I'm so convinced that there's no chance of that happening that I can feel comfortable throwing it out there.
Do you think she's truly not bothered by this kind of discussion on there?
I don't think she appreciates it, but I think...
Is it yes, no? Do you think she's truly not bothered by it?
I think based on some of the things that I've said over the years on this show, she ultimately chalks it up to me being silly and would not be bothered or threatened by that.
But you never know, Fritzy. Like any good swinger, you got to throw those feelers out, throw the ear balls out. Let's go a little bit lower after this segment. We're going to talk old-fashioned nut shots. Stay around. The Box Score presents Great Moments in DP Show History.
No! Help me!
Thanks for watching Great Moments in DP Show History. Welcome back to the Box Score. You just saw legendary anchorman Ron Burgundy take it right in the Walesville JJ region. Fritzy, how cool is it being able to say that you took down a legend in flinchball?
That was a special moment for me, and it'll live forever on video. For it to, the pressure was on there, to have Ron Burgundy in studio, and ideally one of us would be great for the show if one, if not both of us, got hit with a flinch ball. But to be able to bounce it just right and nail him there, that was pretty cool.
Paulie, this morning you toyed with the idea of having an honorary flinchball Hall of Famer. Who was it?
Jimmy Kimmel. We were watching little Jimmy Kimmel the other night, and he had Clayton Kershaw on from the Dodgers, and he had an apple on his head. Was taking baseballs. They were like the soft baseballs, but they're still got a lot of meat to them. No flinching by Jimmy. I think he would dominate in this room. I would say if there was a flinchball Hall of Fame, first class going in would be Ron Burgundy. Jim Parsons, the actor, participated, had a good time.
The Godfather, Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville. He hit me in the nuts before we even left
Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Bob Costas could be in the contributors wing because he called a little flinch ball. That's a huge first class.
McLovin, we'd ask you to weigh in, but I think it's just going to be easier to show a McLovin nutshot montage.
Oh! Oh! Boom! Is that a direct shot?
Oh, he got it.
Okay, closest to the pin. Oh, you can't do that. No.
Yeah, come check.
Wow. I didn't see that one where I was the sausage.
That's your real McLovin when you go for TV jobs.
Well, first of all, did you see any flinching in there? Not much.
Not.
There was falling to the ground in pain. There was a lot of that, but not flinching.
No, you got through it.
You're
proud
allowed
of
to collapse in pain afterwards.
Yeah.
You just can't flinch during the act.
I'm proud of my nut shot reel.
I'm proud of my nut shot reel too. I'm like 90% of those I'm getting them. That was great. I didn't realize
one shot where you hit me when I have the cup on the outside, that was like one of the early landmark moments of the show. My uncle came up to me. I'm watching the TV and all of a sudden I see Andrew with a cup outside his jeans getting thrown of balls at his you-know-what.
Paulie, you threw out some big names for the Hall of Fame. What would be some of the criteria that would get a person into the Flinchball Hall of Fame?
I would say it's like a sliding scale. Level of fame really helps. If you could drop yourself down to our level and play a little flinch ball, it goes a long way. you don't necessarily have to win or lose. I think it's participation. You know, you want to win, but it's cooler just to play, right? That's not the official wording.
It's cooler just to play. It's beyond everybody's plaque.
Okay, stay with us. Up next, it's Fritzy's least favorite game. It's Know Your Row. Welcome back to the box score. Boy, you can't talk about nut shots without talking about pain. So we asked the guys what was the biggest injury they ever had. Let's see what they said as we play another edition of
Know Your Row!
I have no idea what my answer is. How's that possible?
Let's begin in the back row and the star of the montage, the nut shot montage. It's you, McLovin. What did Fritzy say was his biggest boo-boo?
Oh my God. You've had multiple major surgeries.
Does a surgery count as an injury?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a huge internal surgery as a boo-boo.
Injured gas.
I'm gonna go, he had a sports hernia recently.
Did he play sports to get it?
I have no idea. I'm gonna go with the sports hernia.
Was it a
I don't know how he
sports
got it with
hernia?
the sports hernia.
Biggest injury I suffered, if you take away all the gastrointestinal medical issues, I hurt my leg really bad playing Nerf baseball with my brother in our old apartment in Brooklyn, where I bashed my knee pretty good into a chair when we were running the bases. Yeah, that was a mess. You know, Nerf baseball got really rough in the old apartment in Brooklyn, and you know, we used to touch different pieces of the furniture as to be the bases.
Oh, yeah.
And I went running to first base, and I continued past the little corner piece of furniture, and there was a chair there, and my knee just bashed right into the side of this chair. And
Just surgery?
Not surgery, but it was bloody, messy knee, hobbling for weeks from a Nerf baseball injury where we shouldn't have been running the bases in a small little living room apartment.
Man.
Front row, Paulie, what was Seaton's biggest boo-boo?
You know what? I've heard a lot of Seton sports stories, and I don't remember an injury. This is going to be pretty vague, but I think it's going to have to do with drinking and in high school. He told a story once of falling down, and not the losing the shoe story, because that's not an injury. But I'm going to say something he got hurt whilst drinking.
Was it a boozing accident?
I broke my wrist once snowboarding, and that hurt because I had, my car was a stick shift at the time, and I broke my right wrist. And I drove there a VW Fox that was a 4-speed, and none of my friends knew how to drive a stick shift, and we had to drive my car to the hospital. And I would shift with, I would do the clutch with my foot and tell my buddy to shift because I couldn't do it with a broken wrist. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of great injuries, or actually that are substantial injuries. They're all kind of good stories. Like, I broke my nose at a show once, getting kicked in the face on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
That was cool. And then I had another one that I think the one Paulie was actually talking about was where my buddy had a tall boy of beer and was on the second floor
Dropped it
at
down.
our shore house and started dumping it like that. And I was on the ground floor catching it, trying to drink the beer from a story up. And he went about 1, 2, and then dropped the full tall boy. And I couldn't see because the beer was falling in my eyes, and it wham! Smashed me right in the face. I literally had a ring of a black eye like that where you could see the bottom half was the perfect shape of a beer can. And I was pretty much like a hero for the week and change that was there. It was like, dude, that is the coolest thing we've ever seen.
I love that story.
That's me in a nutshell.
Love that story.
Coolest thing I ever heard. Back to Fritzy, what did McLovin say?
I'm going to say back when McLovin was a small child, he was playing on the monkey bars or one of those kiddie playgrounds and lost his grip and banged his face on a piece of equipment or a slide or something like that. Maybe cut his lip, knocked out a couple of teeth or something.
Did Fritzy get it right? Was it a face bang on a monkey bar or slide?
I think we all know the biggest injury I've suffered. Grade 2 ankle sprain, summer of 2010. I've never been the same since.
He's giving you the
You said you were like, well, I didn't know
in
what
the
to say.
break.
Oh, 2 for 2.
I'm doing this symbol to Fritzy
Trying to help
all. I was trying to cheat
I thought you
there.
wanted me to throw a curveball.
You don't remember the grade 2?
I do, but I thought you had something worse than that.
She just made up a random story that you don't know that
I
happened.
made up a random story, guessing something that you didn't share with me.
It was diagnosed as a grade 2 ankle sprain.
How many
Bob.
numbers is it up to the
Diagnosed
grade?
by a real doctor.
Is that-
Now, I don't know
is that
where
the
grade
worst?
2. I don't know if 1 or 3 is better. I have no idea.
I think
But
the
this
higher
is
the
grade
number,
2.
the worse. Yeah, we couldn't even cheat right. He's giving me the throw the curve. Didn't pick that up as being a great.
Has trouble with the curve. This is for the win if you get it correct. And finally, Seton, what was Paulie's biggest injury?
Man, there's a lot to choose from. Paul's had a lot of dangerous careers. He was a bouncer for a while. I think he was a stuntman. He was a race car driver. He worked in the rodeo for a brief period of time. I'm gonna say Jeepers Creepers is tough. I'm gonna say the bump on Paul's head that his sister gave him. Wow. That still, to this day, is I think a nagging injury and probably had a massive impact on young Paul's brain.
Oh, was it the sibling smackdown?
Not a lot of arching injuries to talk about. My left knee about 4 years ago, I injured it. I'm pretty sure I injured it moving a couch, and I had to have knee surgery.
Yeah, I was gonna tell a cool injury story. Seton's right. My sister once went through the golf club, went back, and went all the way through and knocked me out here, hence bump. This one I told because it was embarrassing. I was up in Vermont. I was helping my sister move a couch, and I tried to jump and move it, and I was like, ooh, ah. And then about 2 months later, he goes, yeah, you got meniscus tear. You got to have your knee surgery.
Yeah, you did have knee surgery.
Right.
But
So-
then you also had lung surgery, too, though,
But
at
this
some
one is
point.
embarrassing. I mean, getting hit by Michael Strahan, if I had surgery off that, yeah, that's cool. But, you know, moving a couch, that kind of defines my athletic experience.
Nobody wins. Nobody got anything right. Sorry, guys, but we're all winners. We've been talking three-ways and beer bongs from the second floor. Stay with us, though. We break down the art of the crossover. We talk hoops.
The young generation of basketball players is a disaster, Dan.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do 14 crossovers.
Oh, I know that.
Nobody
They
passes
get in
the ball.
front of you and try and cross you over.
They're not going anywhere. You're just
Couple
standing there.
incidences of
Just want to look good.
teach.
Yeah.
Get that
But
out.
I always think it's funny when the guy crosses you over, but he doesn't move.
Yeah,
so
no,
you
you're
just go like
staying
this.
there and you're like,
You done?
Welcome back to the Box Score. Last call here at the Box Score Bar. You guys went out and played some basketball yesterday. McLovin, was class in session?
Oh, yeah. Not really. But Seton, this kid was crossing over on Seton. He literally, how many times did you steal the ball?
oh, not that.
At least 5. Yeah. It was a pretty competitive game. We're improving, Brock. We have we're practicing a lot. I'd say as a group, the Danettes have gone from awful to less awful, but still awful.
Well, I think it's even more of like a wind thing, too. Like the first time, last week we played, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, and really Andrew was the only person who could make it through the first game without being like, all right, that's it, I'm done. This time we made it at least a solid 2 games, if not 3, some people, which was pretty good. I was impressed with the group.
Well, DP threw a little NBA pop quiz at you guys to see if you knew who the next NBA star was going to be. Let's see what happened.
McLovin, I'll start with you. The name that you wrote down of the next true star in the NBA.
Damian Lillard jumped to mind.
Okay, all right. Seton O'Connor, who did you write down?
Chandler Parsons.
Chandler Parsons, right? Paulie?
I wanted to go Bradley Beal because I know you like his game.
I do
but
like
I'm going to go Anthony Davis of New Orleans.
All right. Fritzy?
I'm going to go DeMar DeRozan.
I like DeRozan. And in obscurity, Paulie is right.
7 minutes ago, I sent an IM to Andrew that said Anthony Davis.
He did.
And then he said to me, yeah, dude, obviously he's an all-star. Oh, why did I do that? All of a sudden, I have like no confidence. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's probably really stupid. I shouldn't say that. I should listen to what Andrew was telling me. And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe Dan's giving a clue with the Kevin Love thing. And I totally got in my own head. And it was right there, right? Damn. Why do I care? I don't know.
Now, pop quizzes are always fun. And with Sharknado 2 on tonight, there may or may not be a pop quiz regarding that long-awaited sequel tomorrow. Now to the guy with the great white legs. Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
Hall of Famer Warren Sapp will join us as he gets ready to see his former Bucks teammate Derek Brooks get inducted into Canton. Rich Eisen of the NFL Network as well, and we continue to work on some other stuff for Thursday.
Try for Ian Zarian and Tara Reid, please. Thanks for watching The Box Score. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on ICE Channel 239 right here on DirecTV. This one's for me.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!